everybody, it's Jenna and I'm here in my kitchen and I've gathered up some materials today to show you how to make sauerkraut. I have had this red cabbage in my fridge for quite some time now. Luckily cabbage keeps for a while because I had intended to make a sauerkraut with it and I just haven't gotten around to it for a week or two. And one of the goals that I set this week for myself was to make that sauerkraut that I've been meaning to make. So here I am, and I thought that if any of you like sauerkraut, you might enjoy learning how to make some too. So if you have a cabbage at your house, you can gather it up along with some other things that I'm going to show you here in a minute. And you can follow along with me, or you can just watch the video and learn about how to make sauerkraut. Okay, so let's get started. I've got my cabbage here. I also got a large knife that I'm going to use to cut the cabbage in a few minutes. And then that's something that maybe you want to ask an adult to help you with if it's something you haven't practiced too much before, using a big knife. So an adult could help you with getting the cabbage started. And then if you have a wavy knife like this one at your house, or one with a longer handle, that's a great tool for kids to cut the cabbage with and get it down smaller to fit into the jar. So I've got those things. I've got my cutting board ready here on a small table in my kitchen. And then I also gathered up the things here. I have a big bowl to put the cabbage in when I'm done chopping it. I have a jar to fill up. That's where my sauerkraut will ferment. And then I also have some important tools here that you may already have in your kitchen, or you may need to get a hold of or borrow from someone. But this is one style of fermentation lid. So it comes apart right here, and this part goes onto the top of the jar. And then this is called the airlock, and the airlock will put water in up to about here, and then that will allow the gases to escape as the sauerkraut ferments, while not letting any new air in to bring in mold and bacteria growth and things like that we don't want. So that's an important part about making sauerkraut. These are pretty inexpensive. You can get them for a few dollars at a local homestead store or perhaps online. I got these when I lived in Portland, but they're fairly easy to find and pretty common. This is another style of lid here. So the water just goes in there. It sits on top of the jar, and the bubbles can escape through the hole here in the top, but without letting any new air in. So that style works just like that. So you'll need to get your hands on a lid if you do want to follow through with this project and start making your own kraut. It's a really fun thing to do at home. Really easy to do and easy for kids and adults to do, and very tasty. So we have all of those things ready. I also have the ring for on top of my ball jar. We'll need that to tighten it down. And I have a measuring spoon here because we'll need to measure the salt. So the last thing I have is some fine-grained sea salt. You could probably use most types of salt, would be just fine. And I know that for 1 head of cabbage, I need 2 tablespoons of salt. So I'll be sprinkling 2 tablespoons of salt onto my cabbage. I also brought my book here. This is a book that I like to use for finding recipes in and finding inspiration. This is how I started learning how to make my own ferments. I picked up this book and I would recommend it. It's a good one. I'll put the notes down in the comments, but there are many out there that are similar if your family does want to invest in a book of recipes. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to begin by peeling the leaves off of my kraut, or off of my cabbage here. I like to just take the outer layer of leaves off because that part is often a bit wilted. And I'll just feed those to my chickens later on, so I'm setting them to the side here. Okay, it looks like the rest of it is looking good, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to start by taking my big knife here. Again, this is something that you might ask an adult to help you with. I'm just going to cut my cabbage right down the middle. There it went. And that's what the cabbage looks like inside. Kind of see the two halves that came apart. I'll start with just one of the halves. I think I'm going to cut it in half once more with the knife. It does take quite a bit of strength to do that, so that's a good reason to ask for help. And then this part here, the stem, is not something we want to eat, so I'm going to carefully cut that out. Just take it all the way out. The cabbage. There. This part too will go to my chickens. Okay, and then this piece of the cabbage is ready for us to chop with our wavy knife. I'm going to get the other pieces ready as well. And then I'll take over with the wavy knife from there. It's always so important to be careful when working with a sharp knife, because even when you have experience, and you've been practicing for a while, it's still possible to slip and cut yourself. So we're always very careful with that. I'm going to set it up out of the way. And there's my 4 quarters of cabbage ready to be cut up. Okay. Use our wavy knife here. And I'm just going to start chopping my cabbage. I know that I like when my kraut has pretty thin pieces in it. So I'm going to take my time, going slowly, to chop nice thin pieces. If you like your kraut with wider pieces, you can choose to chop them wider. And either way is all right. It will work. So here's kind of my finished pieces of kraut. I'm going to start adding them to the bowl over here. And I like to just kind of turn the piece as I go. Keep pushing down. Keep carving off chunks. Get smaller and smaller. And even though I'm using a wavy knife, I'm still going to be careful to keep my fingers out of the way, especially as the pieces get small. I'll pull my other hand back. Wow, look at that beautiful color. To the bowl. I first became interested in fermentation through a friend, and I was learning a lot about why fermented foods are good for us and why people use fermentation as a way to preserve food. And I started gathering up some equipment, like the stuff I showed you, and gathering up some cabbage from the store or from the garden, and making my own sauerkrauts. And I just fell in love with the process, and I fell in love with preserving food in a traditional way and in a way that didn't require refrigeration. And I fell in love with the taste of sauerkrauts too. They're so sour and tangy often. And over the years, since I started doing it, I've experimented with a variety of different sauerkrauts. I've learned to make kimchi. I've fermented things like carrots and radishes. I tried my hand at fermenting tomatoes. That one didn't go very well. Perhaps I'll try that one again this year. sometimes you have to push quite a bit, even with the wavy knife. This is the part that maybe takes the most time, is the cabbage chopping. Can be fun to do with a friend. Makes it go faster. If you have a friend or a brother or sister or a parent who would like to make cabbage with you, that might make it go faster. Little pieces. I'm going to try and get them all into my bowl. Okay, I'm on to the last piece now. Chopping away. Find a large piece, I'm going to chop it up a little bit smaller. My bowl is getting very full now. One of the things that always surprises me when I make sauerkraut is that all of the kraut can fit into the jar. So when I have it in the bowl, it often looks so much bigger than what the jar can hold. There's something special that happens after I put the salt on that you'll see in just a minute. Okay, we have all of our kraut here in the bowl. The next step is to add the salt. So I'm going to take my salt here. If you remember, I said earlier that for a head of cabbage this size, I would normally use 2 tablespoons of salt. So we'll take our tablespoon and we'll measure out 1 tablespoon. The nice thing about fermenting is that you don't have to be exact with your amounts the way you do with baking. But if you're close enough, that'll do just fine. The salt is important because it acts as a preservative, and that's what allows the fermentation process to occur and for your sauerkraut not to go bad, but to instead turn sour. So my salt has been sprinkled, my hands have been washed, and I'm going to remove my jewelry. Leave it somewhere safe, because these are my best tools for making sauerkraut. My hands right here. So I'm going to begin by just turning the kraut a little bit with my fingers, scooching the salt down in there. And the salt will start to make the juices in the cabbage come out. We'll start to kind of make the cabbage sweat, they call it. Start to get moist. A lot of people will try to do this part with a spoon or something like that, and it really doesn't work. It really has to be your hands. And this is what makes it a great project for kids, because they can really get their hands in there. As you'll notice, I'm being very careful to keep the cabbage in the bowl while I kind of gently move it around with my fingers. And you can see me kind of squeezing the cabbage like this. That's important too, because that's what will cause the juices to start coming out. As I get more salt down in there. Don't know if you can see it, but my cabbage is starting to look wet. I'm going to keep squeezing it, squeezing juices out. This is another good reason to have someone helping you, because your hands might get tired from all the squeezing. It's good to take turns with someone else, let them squeeze and turn the cabbage for a while, and then you squeeze and turn the cabbage for a while. Believe it or not, I've actually done this project with my whole extended day class once. I think about 10 children, 5 years old, helped me to make sauerkraut like this. And we all took turns. We all washed our hands. Everybody got to do some squeezing and some mixing. I think at the end there was more cabbage on the floor than in the jar, but that's all right. We had a great time. If you do end up with some cabbage on the floor, we know what to do about that. We'll take care of that part at the end. So I'm just going to carry on mixing like this for quite some time. And then we'll check back in a little while and see how it's doing. You carry on too if you're following along.